obviously I'm a wellness coach. I'm based in London, and obviously I was invited to talk about wellness and posture and why it's super important. Of course, posture is the position we hold our body. So that affects everything we do. So our seated position, our standing position, and of course, so it affects our entire life. And of course, there are 6 common postural positions. And these are, generally we take it for granted. You know, we just think I've got a sore neck or something like that. We could actually have a postural condition on some level because they vary on different intensities. The benefits of having good posture. So for our health and well-being, so we have reduced back pain, fewer headaches, increased energy, less tension in our neck and shoulders, reduced jaw pain, improved core and scapular strength. This is a neutral spine. So this is someone with good posture and everything internally sits in the right place. So everything sits in the right place means it has the right amount of space and it can all function. So imagine if that spine is tilted. So say it becomes a bit straighter. That means everything's got to be pushed into a different position. Hence why we can lose lung capacity, our circulation's affected, digestion, because our internal organs get moved. And that's why in different spinal positions, we have to be conscious of things. And things like our nerves, a whole nerve position runs all the way down our spine. So everything comes from the brain, it goes down the spinal column. If we have a different spinal position, then again, our nerves can become impinged. We can get funny feelings in our hands and our feet. And that can affect things like our grip, arthritis, things like this become prevalent, tendinitis. So I'm sure if you've ever heard, I in fact have tendinitis all in my left arm, and that actually spurs from my shoulder, but we thought it was carpal tunnel syndrome because it's in my wrist, but it's actually my shoulder, and that's because of my back. And we'll get it on, because I'm actually one of these examples. I'm not the ideal. So these are 5 of them. So we have the kyphosis lordosis, which is also nicknamed the hunchback. So that's a big excessive rounding of the upper back. We have the ideal, lordosis, sway back and flat back. So I'm a flat back, hence why I say I'm slightly different. But the reason it affects our well-being is because you can see straight away from the last picture to this one, how the organs would all be moved. So if we had the ideal, and then we look at the kyphosis, automatically we've got that rounding of the upper back. So we've got different positioning in that middle sort of spinal area. So that is going to affect our nutritional level. It's the same if you look onto the sway back, the chest area is restricted, which affects our lung capacity. It's amazing the differences that you sort of see. So the kyphosis, like I said, that's the sort of hunchback, excessive rounding of the upper back. And this can be prevalent particularly with excessively tall people. It can be genetic or developed. And as you can see from the body position, you've got protruding belly, which again could either be the organs being pushed forwards. It could just be excessive fat as the organs are moved and separated. But this can also be people then losing confidence because they're stooping. You get the neck pain, headaches, round shoulders, and of course, obviously, like I said, the organ movements. The next one is the lordosis. So women and desk workers can be prevalent to this. So women, particularly when pregnant. And the reason we get this one is because when the baby's in the body, the baby draws calcium. Also, the weight. As soon as we naturally have the weight, we shift and adjust. So, of course, Rick, you will have experienced similar. And again, ladies, if you're not pregnant, is carrying a big bag. You put the bag on your back all the time, you'll adjust and you'll pull back. So if you have the weight on your front, you'll automatically adjust to hold it. But you can see again the body position, the belly's been pushed slightly forwards. That lower back, again, the chest area is restricted, restricting breathing. And again, although the rounding of the shoulders isn't quite as dominant as the kyphosis and the lower back is excessive, you can still get the weakened upper back and neck muscles. Again, this can lead to the headaches, sore neck, You can also be uncomfortable lying. Most of these positions, it can be uncomfortable lying down. And that, of course, affects your sleep. And if we don't sleep, we don't recover. We don't gain concentration. So it all interconnects. So sway back. This one's generally more developed than genetic. And this is generally one from desk work and office work. So again, you can see this one's got the posterior tilt of the pelvis, so slight different alignment there, but you can see all the way down the rib cage, the central column, how there's much less space in the chest, much less space in the middle of the torso. So this is going to affect your digestion and your overall well-being. And of course, if your body's not functioning right, it's not going to work right. So of course, this will affect your activity levels. Again, any restriction to the chest, if your lung capacity is reduced, any cardiovascular exercise is going to be affected because you're not going to be able to be as active. You're going to find it harder just getting your breath. So either high intensity or long durations, you'll have to probably spend longer to train up for it. Doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means it becomes a little bit more challenging. So this one's me. This can be genetic or developed. I obviously relate to this because I developed this. So this was, as we were saying, the heavy pack on my back during the army, flattening out the back to balance at the weight. So again, we've got the big counterbalancing of muscles, but as you can see, the organs aren't as restricted because you've got quite a wide sort of chest and frontal cavity. However, you'll see the neck and shoulders are quite tense and tight. Upper trapezius muscles very overactive. There's also a lot of pressure on the vertebrae here.